Throughout time and across culture, art has been used as a meditative process.
Hello, my name is Alexa Graga, and today we'll be creating mandala prints through the process of relief carving. Mandala. We will be making the print out of the medium linoleum, and this lesson is intended for high school students, and it can be for adults as well. I have my friend Deanna here helping me. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Deanna, and I go to Kutztown University for art education in alternative settings, and I would love to learn how to do printmaking.
Starting from the left to the right, we will use sketchbook paper, tracing paper, pencils, and ink markers for drawing and transferring our drawing to the linoleum. Linoleum, speedball carvers, rollers, also known as brayers, ink, a scraper, and paper will be used for carving and printing. We will also make sure to put our gloves on before we ink and then take them off when it's time to touch our clean paper. To carve linoleum, we use this speedball tool with multiple heads. It is a very sharp tool, so when carving and holding, we always want to make sure that we are not holding the tool towards us.
When we're carving, I like to start using the knife first, so I score along the edges so my edges don't tear when I'm carving. But before we start, I do want to note something very important, is that we always need to carve away from our bodies. We don't want to carve towards us. Deanna and I will now practice scoring our piece. So you just want to take the knife and go along the edges of your work. Now you can give it a shot. Next, I like to use the smallest tool because I feel is more precise this way. And I also like to hold it up close to the front because I feel I can get a better grip, but you can do whichever you prefer. Some people like to hold it back farther still. So I'm gonna carve like this. Remember, because we scored, it won't tear at the edges. Oops, I missed a little there. Alright. It does get a little difficult sometimes. It is. It's very stiff.
And that's why you don't put your hands in front of it.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to put your hands in front. And because the material is a little slippery, sometimes it does slide a little bit until you get used to it. Now we will repeat the motions of carving, which can be a meditative process. Meditation means concentrate, which comes from the word center. When repeating the carving motions, your mind disengages because the person knows what he or she is doing. But because the individual must stay with the group, a part of the person can stay engaged while the other thoughts leave your body. This can cause people to enter a meditative dream state as they are working. To go along with our meditation process, we're going to carve out this Zen mandala that Deanna has created.
A mandala architecturally was put at the center of places of worship such as Christian cathedrals and Muslim mosques. Here you can see cathedrals with mandalas on the outside and on the inside of the building. Although it is in a different style, you can see mandalas on the mosques as well, on the outside and the inside. A mandala, especially in these cases, represents a safe refugee of inner reconciliation and wholeness.
Now, since we have our Zen mandala completely drawn, we will transfer the drawing to linoleum. You want to take a 7B or one of your higher B pencils so the lead is nice and soft, and we're just going to trace part of this for now. I'm just gonna trace this little leaf. All right, so now that we have this part traced, what you wanna do is you want to take your linoleum and flip it over on the other side. I usually take a Sharpie to rub it into the paper, but right now I'm just gonna use the back of our speedball tool. And you just wanna rub the lead into the linoleum, and then it comes up on the outside. And then after that, you wanna take a thin Sharpie and make this so it's more noticeable. Since the linoleum is gray, it's a little hard to see. So once you cover it in ink, then it's much easier for you to carve. After you're tracing, you can begin to start carving, but because Deanna already has this Zen mandala carved out, we can just begin with the printing process. I usually use black ink, but today we're gonna use this nice blue that Deanna picked out. So the first thing we do is, we do wear our gloves, because I'm already getting a lot of ink on my hands. Then you grab this scraper, and you scrape some ink out of it, and you put it on the table. You don't actually need too much. So we're gonna scrape this. There's a little piece of plastic in it, so I'm gonna scrape that out. Now we get our roller, and we're gonna spread it onto the glass. It takes a little while to get the right consistency. It has to have a good, nice stick sound. You wanna roll some?
Yeah.
Here we go.
You just do it one way?
Yeah, you can do it one way. You can go sideways a little bit. I like to just not spread it all over the table because that's more cleanup.
Is that good?
It's getting there. Let me check it out. Yep, so this is good. So now we can start rolling it onto our linoleum. All right, so, and remember to note that nice stick sound. If it's too gloppy, then the ink will seep into the cracks. So I'm just continuing inking this. You can also switch directions too. Oops. And there's definitely a happy medium of ink that you need to put on so you don't have white spots. So you want to roll some more on. Nice, so now we're going to pause. Something I like to do is I like to hold up the linoleum and tilt it in the light. There's going to be certain spots that are more shiny than others. And if it's not as shiny, then that means those spots are missing ink. And there's a few spots I noticed. A lot of times the corners might not get inky, so you have to kind of go back and just get all the missing spots. And sometimes you'll still miss a spot, and then that's okay. You can just always reprint it and keep on printing it until it's the way you want it printed. All right?
In the printing process, we use this press for relief prints. You can see here that the press has numbers on the side of it. Since linoleum is thin, we want it to be a lower number, such as 1.65. If your lino was mounted on wood or MDF, the number would be much higher.
In the printing process, we first put this piece of newsprint down so we don't dirty the press. Next, you can put the linoleum down. We put the paper over the linoleum. It doesn't necessarily matter where, since this is a pretty large piece, so I'm just gonna aim for the middle. And then lastly, we put a piece of cardboard over the whole thing to keep the press clean again. So when I put my liners to the press, I do it 3 times because I feel like I get a nice even coat. I also push the press like this, and I keep my hand down so the linoleum doesn't move. So I'm going to start rolling this. might be a little loose, so you might have to try this again, but that's okay. Alright, I want to reverse it. So I'm just pulling it back this way. And then we'll go through one more time. That's how you put your linoleum through the press. So now I'm going to have Deanna do this, but what you're going to do is you're going to take the edges of this and you're going to lift it up slowly. You don't want to lift it too fast. Sometimes things shift around or the paper gets messed up. So you can do that now and then show your beautiful print to the camera.
Oh, I'm loving the color.
So it's a great color. There are some white spots missing, so I'm sure we're going to print it again, but there's the final print or proof.
Now it is time to clean up. We wear our gloves again for this. It is very important because we use chemicals to clean up our tools and ink. We will start with tables. Tables are simple. You put the Gamsol down and rub it with the paper towel. It will spread out a lot and look a lot messier at first, but with repetition, it gets all cleaned up eventually. To clean the rollers, you put the paper towels down first. You will then put Gamsol on the roller and roll it on the paper towel. You will put clean paper towels down once they are dirty. When no more ink goes on the paper towels anymore, you are finished cleaning the roller. We also need to clean the scraper as well, and you kind of just put a little Gamsol in and rub it back on those paper towels until that's clean too. When cleaning up your paper towels, you want to make sure that all the paper towels with the chemicals on them get thrown in these red hazardous bin trash cans. Any other trash can just be placed in the regular trash can. You can also use water-based ink for high schoolers, then you don't have to worry about these hazardous bin trash cans. Here you see we printed the mandala again. A higher pressure on the press made our ink look more solid on the paper. Our process used repetition in carving, inking, and printing our mandala. In the end, our meditation process coincided well with the repeated free-formed lines in Deanna's mandala, along with its meditative history. Once you do this multiple times, you can truly reach a dream state.